First time I'm trying this, I'm doing a set of runes. These are for a missionary who asked me, and I'm doing the accent in a gold. And how I'm doing that is I'm using straight mica powder, and I brush it on the accent only. But mica powder is so fine, it just tends to get everywhere, kinda. So, let me finish this last one in this row. I will show you what I do. Now, a lot of people use alcohol or water. I actually had this big bottle, and I blow out the excess, this big bottle of acetone, and I found it works wonderful. I pour a little bit in a little bottle cap, and then it's about this size of a brush. I dip it in. I just dip it in to get the acetone on the tip of the brush, and I trace where I don't want the gold, and the brush with the acetone picks it right up, and the acetone dries very quickly, so I don't have to worry about waiting around to add the next color. I do this row by row. That way it gives it a chance to dry, as well as not being overwhelming that I have, oh wow, I have 80,000 things to reline. Whereas this way I do the accent for one row, and then I go ahead and clean it up, because you don't want the gold mixed with the base color. In this case it's going to be a green. He specifically asked for green, so there is, you see the gold. And when you dip it in, just kind of bump your brush on the bottom, and what it does is it takes off the excess excess mica powder that you got on your brush from cleaning it up, so it doesn't stick on your brush and it doesn't overcoat it. Now, you can use a smaller brush or a larger brush. I chose this size because not only will it get into the crevices when I just wiggle it a little bit, it's the perfect size for the border, but also if I get any gold in the rune itself, because I blow off the excess, you get like a gold mist that just floats over. And this will go ahead, and it's a good size to clean it up without being too clumsy. Now this time, the acetone really collected on the brush, and it kind of, when I put it on, it kind of gave a little puddle. And don't panic when it does that. It actually will not go up onto the raised pieces. And it still dries just as well. And you can see how easy it is to clean. Now I've tried gel pens, I've tried Sharpies, I've tried paint pens, I've tried just about everything, and the problem I have with it is it kind of squinches up and bubbles up and leaves blank spaces, and it just doesn't it doesn't handle well with the silicone. So now afterwards, if you have a piece afterwards and you're using one of your markers or whatnot to color on it, um, that that works fine. But when you're just doing it straight on the silicone, it really doesn't work well. Now, if anybody knows the a type of marker or paint pen that does work well with acrylic, please comment down below and let me know, because I would love that. I like to have options when I paint and do my things. So, okay, so we have 2 rows done, and I will go ahead and show you how I'm going to do the symbols. I usually do one thing on the whole thing, but now these are actually, they have little dots on it, but I take the lid itself off so I can stick my brush in it. Now this is a black. Let me get a new brush. I don't want to mix my gold with my black. Now, I don't get expensive brushes. I go out and buy like a 20 pack of inexpensive brushes, because if I decide to use them with resin already colored, and I dip the brush in resin and everything, you really can't get the resin off, and they get really, really stiff and useless. So, take off the excess. Then I follow the symbol. I'm not sure I'm going to use this color yet, so I'm doing one. It's so light, it's almost like a gray, and I don't like that, so I'm not going to use that. So we're going to take that off. Oh, let's think of a different color. Let's see. We could use some cherry red. Let's see how that looks. If red and green go together. Let's see. Oh, that stands out. Yes. That'll be a good one. And let me do one down here so you can see. I'll do this one. It's right in the middle, so you should be able to see it all right. Now, as I said, when I do the mica, you can see how it powders up a little bit. The excess just falls off the brush, and then I blow off the extra, and once again use the acetone to get around all the edges, to clean it up. So it's not a mess. Now, I tend to take a lot of time on my projects because I am quite particular. But some people wouldn't clean it up and they would just like it, kind of that wild look, which is fine. That's their prerogative. But something like this can take a lot of time. So you need to realize that before you go ahead and say, yeah, I'll do you a set and it'll be done in, an hour, because it won't. You really need to take a lot of time, and this goes with the rune set as well. It's a rune plate, and I started this last night. You can see I'm doing the colors and everything, so you know that goes with this set. So if you were going to make and sell one of these, um, I would definitely. I talked to my partner, who was a jeweler, so he's used to, um, handmade things and custom things. And he said, don't forget the time that you put into something, not only the materials that you used, but the time used. And because I had told him this with the plate that I showed you, like, oh, I was thinking about 35. And he's like, no, 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 35 just for the runes, because of how long it takes. And plus you can customize them and whatnot. And so you need to think about how much time you're using, and not to mention the materials that you're using. So take all that into account before making a price.